Now, since you said St. Louis, talk to me about the St. Louis when you before you came, because I've been there too, man. It's something totally different than California. It's way different. I pulled over and we was at Jellystone, this Ashford Park, getting some gas, and I seen dudes with gold grills in them. I didn't know what that was when I was doing it. I was like, what the hell's going on here? It was 1, 2, 5, 10. Where you from? California. And we just started chopping it up because they never met nobody from California. And I was with my family. We was going to Indiana to visit some cousins, relatives. We took a drive from Long Beach all the way to Indiana. And it was so beautiful over there, man. And the people were so nice. Everybody's so nice, it seems to me. I mean, when I went through there.
Yeah.
So how was it growing up in St. Louis?
Well, I left when I was 5 years old. So I can't really speak too much on, but I've been back and I've been not even just St. Louis. I've been, all over the US, right? And I can honestly say that I think California, Southern California specifically, we're a little more antisocial.
Very much so.
So I think that's why a lot of these other areas they're more welcoming. Doesn't mean that they're soft, of course, right? Because a lot of these areas, man, like you know what I mean. But yeah, exactly. Especially from being from Cali, because we automatically assume you have to be how we are. You know
extra
what I'm saying?
hard.
And that aggressive, extra hard, mean mugging. Like when I first started traveling, I remember like I went out to, I think it was like Atlanta or something. And some dude was like looking at me, and I'm like, I was about to trip on him. Like, what the fuck are you looking at? And he looked at me and he was like, hey, how you doing?
Right.
It fucked me up. I was like, oh shit. I was like, hey, what's up?
I'm gonna tell you something. Like,
okay,
we left here, we drove because here you gotta pay first, then you pump. So we drove from LA to Arizona, New Mexico. Then I forgot where I got stuck at. We got stuck there and it said pump first, then pay. I was like, wait a minute. And the people were like, hi. I'm like, something, me?
Yeah.
And it did that all the way up until we got to Indiana. Then when we got to Indianapolis, you had to pay first, then pump. So I said, this must be the hood.
You know what's crazy is I think they just changed it, but I know in like is it Washington or Oregon? One of the two, one state you have to let them pump it for you. The other state you have to pump it yourself, and they're right next to each other, right? And I remember it fucked me up because the first time I went out there, I see a dude walking up on my car. I'm like what the fuck is walking up on my car? And he go to pump, and my homie had to tell me like, nah, man, that's what they do. They pump the gas. I'm like, all right, cool. And then we literally drove over the bridge to the next state. And I remember I ended up having to get gas, and I was sitting back expecting somebody to pump my gas, and nobody came. I was like, man, this shit's confusing as fuck.
That is true, man. That is true.
Like it even confused me. Like even like shit. Even like it's just crazy that certain states how the laws is different. Like even with traffic, I remember I'm sure you've been in New York, but how you can't make a right turn on a red light.
Bet not. You can pull right over.
And there's no sign, and the signs don't even say you can't.
No.
It took somebody from New York to tell me, like, yo, you can't turn on this. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, and New York is a whole different ball.
California, California, you can turn as long as it doesn't say you can't.
Right. Have you ever performed in New York?
Yeah.
What was the vibe like for you? I mean, I've been to performing before, and they told me I couldn't play hip hop from the West Coast when I was DJing. I'm like, I'm gonna do it anyway. I don't know what you're talking about. I've already paid, so I'm gonna do what I want. So, but no hip hop from LA, only New York, Atlanta. So how was your experience performing in New York?
Actually, for me, it was good.
Okay.
But I think a lot of it has to do with the time. I think the time that we're living more in a time now where you have, California has influenced so many places, like New York, one of the places that was the most resistant
right
to our culture. You know what I'm saying? So I think now a lot of people out there kind of, especially like my generation or even the younger generation, has a different level of appreciation for us.
Right.
So
Right.
it was good for me.
Okay.
It was good for me. But I can see why, because I know the history. I can see why it was different for you.
For me, it was in the late '90s. It was after Big was passed and Pop was passed, and there was like, and they lost the grasp on hip hop because everybody was going to Atlanta. So Atlanta at that time, California was falling off, New York had fell off, and Atlanta was the mecca for hip hop. So everybody was trying to sound like Atlanta. So I mean, it was a trip for me. I understood it. I didn't like it, but I understood it.
Hustle man. Hustle man.